Have you ever looked at your life and thought, if I could just be consistent, everything would change? You plan your routines, make promises, tell yourself, this time I'm going to stick with it. But then, a week later, or sometimes just a few days, you're right back where you started. The planner is blank, the healthy food is forgotten in the fridge, the gym shoes gather dust, and you start to wonder if there's something wrong with you. You've watched videos, read books, tried new hacks, but nothing seems to last. Why? Why is it so easy to start and so hard to keep going? Most people blame themselves. They say, I just don't have enough discipline. I'm lazy. I don't have motivation. But what if the problem isn't you? What if the real reason you can't stay consistent is something nobody ever taught you to notice? Today, I want to show you the hidden side of consistency, the side that's always working against you even when you're doing your best. Stick with me, because by the end, you'll see your own struggles in a totally different light, and maybe for the first time, you'll understand what's really stopping you from becoming who you want to be. Let's start with a familiar scene. It's Sunday night. You're energized, hopeful. You lay out your clothes, plan your meals, maybe even color code your calendar. You promise yourself, this is my week. I'll stick to the plan no matter what. But then, somewhere between Wednesday and Thursday, it all unravels. You skip a workout. You order takeout. You scroll through your phone instead of reading. By Friday, it's hard not to feel defeated, like you're stuck in a loop, always starting over, but never moving forward. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Everyone goes through this, but most people think they're the only ones. Social media makes it look like everyone else is crushing it. Perfect routines, endless motivation, flawless progress. But in reality, most people's consistency is just a highlight reel carefully edited for likes. The real story is messier, and honestly, it's way more interesting. Let's talk about motivation. It's the spark that gets you started, the energy that makes you believe change is possible. But motivation has a dark side. It's unreliable. Ever notice how motivation hits hardest when the stakes are low? Late at night, right before bed, or when you're inspired by someone else's story? But when it's 6 a.m. and your alarm goes off, gone. Motivation is a feeling, and like every feeling, it comes and goes. Waiting for motivation to keep you consistent is like hoping the weather will always be sunny. You can't control it, you can't predict it, and if you depend on it, you'll always be at its mercy. This isn't a failure. It's just how human brains work. Successful people aren't more motivated, they've simply learned not to rely on motivation alone. Here's a question. Why do some people seem to build habits effortlessly while others struggle? The answer isn't what you think. Habits aren't about force of will. They're about creating routines that run on autopilot even when you're tired, stressed, or distracted. James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, says, "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." In other words, it's not about wanting more. It's about designing your life so the right choice is the easy choice. Think about it. If you want to eat healthy, fill your kitchen with healthy food. If you want to read more, put a book on your pillow. If you want to work out, lay out your clothes the night before. The most consistent people aren't superhuman. They're just really good at removing friction from the things they want to do and adding friction to the things they want to avoid. Here's where things get interesting. Every day, you make thousands of tiny decisions, from what to eat, to what to wear, to which email to answer first. Each decision drains a little bit of your mental energy. Psychologists call this decision fatigue. By the end of the day, your willpower is running on empty. This is why you're more likely to skip your evening workout, order fast food, or binge watch a show late at night. Your brain just wants a break. It's not weakness, it's biology. The world is full of distractions designed to wear you down. So the real challenge isn't doing more, it's making fewer decisions. The less you leave to chance, the easier consistency becomes. Culture loves the story of the big dramatic transformation, the before and after, the viral success story, the overnight change. But in real life, change is almost always invisible. It's not a leap, it's a slow build. You don't notice progress from one day to the next, so you assume you're failing. But here's the secret. Every big change is just the result of hundreds of tiny, almost invisible steps. If you're not seeing progress yet, maybe you're just in the quiet part of the story. Most people quit right before things start to compound. This is the part almost nobody talks about. We celebrate people who say yes to new habits, new routines, new goals. But the real power is in saying no. No to distractions. No to the easy option. No to things that feel urgent but aren't important. Psychologists call this inhibitory control, your brain's ability to pause before acting. And here's the twist. Most of your inconsistency isn't because you lack motivation or discipline. It's because you haven't trained yourself to say no to the right things. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't matter, you're saying no to your own progress. Consistency is about protecting your focus, not just chasing new goals. Ever notice how the easiest way to break consistency isn't to say yes or no, but maybe? Maybe is seductive. It feels safe, like you're not rejecting your goal, just postponing. But maybe is the slowest, quietest way to quit. It's the shadow that follows you all day whispering, "You can start tomorrow." Every time you delay an action, your brain starts building a new habit, the habit of waiting. Successful people, they don't have more motivation. They just have less maybe. They make things binary. Either it happens or it doesn't. And that's not willpower. It's design. They set up their days so that their best choice is also the path of least resistance. Let's get concrete. J.K. Rowling wrote much of Harry Potter in a small cafe, ignoring distractions and social invitations, even when she had no money and almost no support. Serena Williams trains for hours each day, year after year, saying no to every comfort most people would choose without thinking. Even Sherlock Holmes, in literature, was famous for his three-pipe problems, sitting for hours, refusing to engage in anything but the case at hand, shutting out the world to focus deeply. It's not that these people never got bored or tempted or tired. They just got better at protecting their yes by strengthening their no. And the good news? You can do the same, one tiny no at a time. Imagine our stick figure. Every week, he sets up a line of dominoes, each one a small daily habit. Wake up early, eat breakfast, read a page, work out for 10 minutes. But every time a distraction comes, a new show, a friend calling, a random craving, one domino gets pulled out. The chain breaks. Progress stops. He goes back to the start. The stick figure isn't failing because he's weak. He's failing because his dominoes are always at risk of being knocked out by something urgent but not important. This is where most people get stuck. Always setting up, always restarting, never letting the chain grow long enough to see results. Here's a little neuroscience. Your brain has two competing systems. The impulsive, emotional brain seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, craving novelty. The rational, planning brain wants future rewards, long-term progress. When you're rested, calm, and everything is perfect, your rational brain is in charge. But the moment you get tired, stressed, or bored, the impulsive brain takes over. That's when you reach for your phone, break your routine, give up on your streak. It's not weakness, it's how evolution kept us alive. But you can train your environment to protect your rational brain even when your impulses flare up. How? by making good choices easier and bad choices inconvenient. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's the quiet part of the story. No applause, no viral posts, no dramatic before and after. It's like being a sculptor chipping away at stone day after day, often with nothing to show for weeks or months. But this invisible work is where change happens. The books get written one page at a time. The marathon is run one step at a time. The stick figure changes not by leaping, but by refusing to stop moving even when nobody's watching. There's an old saying, most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. Tiny habits are like planting seeds. For weeks, maybe months, you see nothing but dirt. But underground, roots are growing, foundations are forming. Then, almost overnight, change becomes visible. This is why people quit. They get bored before the breakthrough. But those who stick with it, who keep showing up, suddenly become overnight successes after years of invisible work. Why do we sabotage ourselves right when things start to go well? Because success feels dangerous to your brain. Change means leaving the comfort zone. Even positive change is scary because it threatens the identity you've built. Your mind starts whispering, "Who do you think you are? Don't get your hopes up. It's okay to skip today. You'll get back on track." This isn't laziness. It's a built-in safety mechanism. To beat self-sabotage, you don't need more willpower. You need more self-compassion and a plan for the moments when your old identity fights back. We live in a world that sells quick fixes. 21 days to a new you. Change your life overnight. This one hack will solve everything. But real consistency is built in the opposite direction. It's slow. It's repetitive. It's often boring. But it's also incredibly powerful, because when you learn to love the process, not just the outcome, you become unstoppable. James Clear, Charles Duhigg, even Aristotle, yes, the philosopher, have all argued that goals alone don't work. Why? Because goals are binary. You win or lose, all or nothing. Systems are different. A system is a repeatable process. It's focusing on showing up, not on crossing a finish line. Instead of saying, "I'll run a marathon," say, "I'm the kind of person who runs every day." Instead of, "I'll read 50 books," say, "I read a page every night before bed." With a system, you can't fail. You can only practice. This is the final secret. You become consistent when your actions align with your identity. Every time you follow through, you're casting a vote for the type of person you want to become. Not, "I'm trying to be consistent," but "I am a consistent person, even on the bad days." You don't have to wait until you've done something 100 times to call yourself that. You just have to show up today, in a tiny way. And the more you do it, the more real it becomes. Still think you need a big change? Try this instead. Make your habit so small you can't say no. Want to work out? Put on your shoes. If you do that, you've won for the day. Want to read? Open the book and read one sentence. That's it. Want to eat healthy? Swap one snack for a piece of fruit. Don't overhaul your diet. Just prove to yourself that you can do one small thing. Why? Because the hardest part of consistency is starting. Once you show up, momentum does the rest. Here's a rule borrowed from internet forums and productivity nerds. No 0 days. No matter how tired, stressed, or distracted you are, do something, anything to keep your chain alive. One push-up, one paragraph, one glass of water. Even the smallest action keeps you in the game. And the more you stack those tiny wins, the easier consistency gets. Let's be honest, you'll mess up. Everyone